I've always known my family had favorites, but I never imagined it would hurt this much. Growing up, it was obvious. My sister was the golden child. Pretty, charming, everything they ever wanted. And me, just invisible. But nothing prepared me for what happened on her 22nd birthday. Tell me, have you ever stood in a room full of people and felt like you didn't even exist? Because that's exactly how I felt. Weeks before her birthday, my parents were acting strange, whispering, smiling, avoiding me like I wasn't supposed to hear. Something was coming, but I didn't know what. I still remember the day. The decorations were extravagant. Balloons, flowers, cake. Everything looked like a wedding, not a birthday. Everyone was there. Aunts, cousins, neighbors, even people I barely knew. But no one noticed me walking in, not even my parents. As the music played and laughter filled the air, I stood there, pretending to smile, pretending to belong. But deep down, I already felt that sting, the one you get when you realize you're just a background character in your own family. Do you know that feeling? Be honest. Have you felt it too? And then, it happened. My dad tapped his glass, calling everyone's attention. The music stopped. People gathered, phones ready to record. "We have a very special surprise for our beloved daughter," he said, grinning ear to ear. I felt my stomach twist. My hands turned cold. Something told me this wouldn't end well for me. Suddenly, the garage door opened, slowly, dramatically. Everyone gasped. There it was, a brand new, shiny white convertible. Ribbons, balloons, a giant gold bow on top. My sister screamed. Everyone cheered, people clapped, took photos, hugged her like she just won the lottery. I stood there, frozen, watching, waiting, hoping. Maybe, just maybe, there was something for me too. Something small, a mention, a word, a thank you. But no, nothing, not a glance, not a smile, not even an ounce of acknowledgement. My mom grabbed the microphone, tears in her eyes. "You deserve this, sweetheart," she said. "You've always made us proud. You've always been the daughter every parent dreams of." Her voice cracked with emotion, and with every word, I felt myself disappearing. I tried to swallow the lump in my throat. I tried to smile. I tried to not cry. But you know that moment when your heart shatters, and there's nothing you can do to hide it? Yeah, that was me. I stood there, surrounded by people, feeling more alone than ever. And here's the twist. What they didn't know was that I had a secret I had carried for years, a secret about them, about this family. And right there, in that moment, something inside me snapped. I realized this was the day everything would change. I clenched my fists, forcing a smile, pretending I was happy, pretending it didn't bother me. But my mind was racing. Do they really think I would just stand here and accept this? That I would swallow yet another reminder that I don't belong? That I'm nothing? Have you ever felt that fire building inside? The one that starts as a whisper and suddenly turns into a scream? I did. Right there, watching my sister pose next to her new car, surrounded by flashes, laughter, and praise, as if she were the queen of the universe. But here's what they didn't know. While my sister was out partying, I was the one helping pay the bills. I worked 2 jobs. I skipped college to support this family when my dad lost his job. I sacrificed years of my life. And yet, here I was, ignored, forgotten. I could hear my aunt whispering, "She's so lucky. What a perfect daughter." Perfect daughter? Really? Funny how perfection only matters when it's loud and shiny. No one cared about the invisible sacrifices. No one noticed the quiet kid holding this family together when everything was falling apart. And that's when something unexpected happened. My grandmother, the only person in that room who ever truly saw me, walked toward me. She grabbed my hand, looked me in the eye, and whispered something that would ignite a firestorm in that room. She leaned close and said, "You don't deserve this. You never did. But they're going to regret it. Trust me." Her voice was soft, but sharp, like a blade hidden in silk. I didn't even know what she meant, but it sent chills down my spine. At that moment, my sister jumped into the car, revving the engine like some Instagram influencer. The crowd cheered louder. Phones were out. Everyone was uploading it to social media. Perfect family moment. Yeah, perfect. At least, from the outside. My dad raised his glass again, shouting, "To our pride, our joy, our beautiful daughter." I looked around. Not a single person seemed to notice me. Or maybe they chose not to. Because sometimes, ignoring someone hurts more than hating them. That's when I felt it. A wave of anger mixed with clarity. If they wanted a show, they were about to get one. But not the kind they were expecting. I wasn't going to stay silent anymore. I wasn't going to play the invisible daughter one more day. I took a deep breath, walked right to the center of the crowd. People turned, confused, surprised. Some whispered, some stared, and then I tapped my glass. Once, twice. The sound echoed, the music died, the laughter stopped, and for the first time ever, the entire room looked at me. You could hear a pin drop. Everyone stared. Some curious, others uncomfortable, and a few already annoyed, as if thinking, "Why is she making a scene?" But I didn't care anymore. Not today. Not after everything. This was my moment, whether they liked it or not. I smiled. Not because I was happy, but because I had nothing left to lose. My voice trembled for a second, but then it steadied. "Wow, what a beautiful car," I said, loud enough for everyone to hear. People nodded awkwardly. Smiles tightened. No one knew where this was going. I walked slowly toward my sister. She was still sitting behind the wheel, grinning like the princess she always was. "You really are lucky," I continued. "A new car, a huge party, so much love. You're truly blessed." I paused, let them get comfortable, let them think it was admiration. And then I dropped it. "I wonder, do they know?" My voice shifted, sharper, colder. People frowned. My dad's face dropped. My mom stiffened. My sister's smile faded, her hand instinctively reaching to lower the car window, as if trying to block me out. "Do they know?" I said louder. "How this family really works. How some of us are treated like queens, while others are treated like maids, like placeholders, like afterthoughts." Gasps, murmurs. A neighbor literally grabbed her husband's arm. Yeah, they didn't see this coming. My father stepped forward, forcing a smile. "Honey, now's not the time," he started, but I raised my hand. "No, you've had your time, all of you, for years." My voice was firm, stronger than I ever thought it could be. "Now, it's my turn." My mom whispered something to him, probably begging him to stop me, but it was too late. I could feel it, the weight of years of silence lifting off my chest. And for the first time, I wasn't afraid of them. I wasn't afraid of anyone in that room. "Let's talk about sacrifices," I said, pacing slowly in front of the crowd. Who stayed home to take care of Grandpa when he was sick? Who skipped college to work? Because this family couldn't pay the bills. Who paid the mortgage? when Dad lost his job. Silence. No one answered. But their faces did. Pale. Ashamed. Some tried to look away. Others, well, they just looked guilty. My sister bit her lip, gripping the steering wheel tighter. My dad crossed his arms, his jaw clenched. My mom covered her mouth, horrified. And yet, I continued, when it comes time to celebrate, when it comes time to reward, it's always her. Always. While I don't even exist in this family. I paused, looked each of them in the eyes. But that ends today. The room was officially frozen. I could see it, the panic spreading like wildfire across the room. People shifted uncomfortably, avoiding eye contact. Some whispered. Some stared at me like I was some villain ruining their perfect little show. But I wasn't ruining anything. I was exposing the truth. My dad tried to regain control. "Sweetheart, this isn't the place." I cut him off. "No, Dad. This is exactly the place. You wanted a spectacle? Well, congratulations. You've got one." His face turned red. His hands trembled, but he couldn't stop me. Not now. I turned to the crowd. "You all see the decorations, the balloons, the car. But what you don't see is the years I spent cleaning up this family's mess. The sacrifices you never heard about. Because no one cared. Because I wasn't the golden child." Gasps. A few people covered their mouths. My sister tried to laugh it off. "She's being dramatic," she scoffed, flipping her hair. "She's always been jealous." But her voice, it cracked, and people noticed. For the first time ever, her perfect image started to crumble, and I could see the cracks spreading. "Jealous?" I repeated, walking right up to her window. "No, not jealous. Just tired. Tired of pretending. Tired of being invisible. Tired of clapping for everyone else, while no one ever claps for me." My voice broke slightly, and that's when I saw it. My grandma smiling, like she'd been waiting for this moment her whole life. Then, my grandma did something no one expected. She stood up, grabbed a fork, and tapped her glass. Once, twice, 3 times. The sound echoed through the dead silence. Everyone turned toward her, confused, unsure, maybe even scared. "I think," she said, her voice steady, "it's time everyone hears the truth." My mom gasped. My dad shook his head, mouthing, "No, no, no." But Grandma didn't care. Her eyes were sharp, her hands steady, her presence undeniable. She pointed at my parents. "You favored one daughter and crushed the other, and you thought no one noticed? Oh, trust me, we noticed. I noticed. I've watched this for years, waiting, hoping someone would finally say it out loud." Whispers filled the air. People were shocked. My sister's face turned white. "Grandma, stop!" she snapped, jumping out of the car. But it was too late. The damage was done. Grandma wasn't stopping. Not now. Not after decades of watching this circus unfold in silence. "You think you're the perfect family?" Grandma continued. "Let me remind you. It was her." She pointed at me. "Who saved this family when you were drowning? It was her who sacrificed her dreams. And all you ever did was pretend she didn't exist." The room exploded into chaos. The room broke into nervous whispers, gasps, and glances exchanged like daggers. Some guests tried to act like they didn't hear. Others couldn't stop staring, watching a family crumble right in front of them. My mom's lips trembled. My dad's fists clenched. But no one dared speak. My sister stomped her foot. "This is ridiculous. She's always been dramatic." Her voice wasn't confident anymore. It was shaky, desperate, and for the first time, people saw through her perfect little act. The pretty smile, the sweet words. None of it could save her now. Grandma wasn't finished. You think buying a car makes you good parents? You think a party erases years of neglect? Her voice shook, but not with fear, with fury. I've watched this girl suffer in silence, while you paraded your favorite like a trophy. People started filming. Yep, phones were out. This wasn't just a party anymore. It was a scandal, a show, and everyone was glued to it. Some out of shock. Others, because deep down, they loved the drama. They wanted to see how far it would go. I stood there, stunned. I never expected her to take my side like this. My throat tightened. Tears welled up. But this time, they weren't tears of sadness. They were something else. Something stronger. The feeling you get when someone finally says what you've screamed in your head for years. My dad slammed his glass onto the table. "That's enough," he roared. His face was red, veins bulging. "This is her birthday. This isn't the time for this nonsense." His voice cracked midway. And just like that, the mask he wore my entire life shattered. "Oh, now it's not the time," I snapped back. Funny. Was it the time when you ignored me at every school event? Was it the time when you told me she's just better at everything? My voice was shaking, not from fear, but from years of holding this in. The crowd was silent, hooked. You could almost hear their thoughts. Did he really say that to her? Some people shifted uncomfortably. Others pretended to look at their drinks, like that would somehow make them invisible too. My mom tried to step in. "Please, honey, let's not..." I cut her off. "No, Mom. You don't get to let's not me. You've let's not my entire existence for years. So guess what? We are... right now." Her face turned pale. Her hands trembled. Her lips quivered. But no words came out. And then, my sister did something unbelievable, something that flipped the room upside down even more. She smirked, crossed her arms, and said loud enough for everyone to hear, "Well, maybe you should have just been better." The air? Gone. The oxygen? Vanished. The silence? Deafening. Her words sliced through the air like a blade. "Maybe you should have just been better." The room froze. Mouths opened. Hands covered lips. A few guests audibly gasped. You could almost hear hearts drop. No one expected her to go that far. Not even me. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. My hands shook. My vision blurred. I opened my mouth, but no words came out. Because how do you even respond to that? How do you process hearing your own sister say, out loud, what you always feared she secretly believed? Grandma stepped forward, eyes blazing. "Shame on you," she spat. "Shame on you." Her voice trembled with rage. "I raised you better than this. Or, at least I thought I did. But clearly, your parents taught you something else entirely." My sister's face turned pale. My dad tried to defend her. "She didn't mean it," he stammered. "She's just upset." But no one bought it. Not this time. Not after everything. The truth was out. Raw. Ugly. Impossible to put back in the box. People started whispering louder now. Some even shook their heads in disgust. And that's when I stopped shaking. Something inside me snapped. The fear, the sadness, the doubt, all of it burned away, replaced by something cold, sharp, powerful. I took a deep breath, looked my sister straight in the eye, and said words I never imagined I'd say out loud. "You're right," I said, my voice steady. cold. Maybe I should have been better. Better at pretending. Better at faking smiles. Better at swallowing disappointment. Better at being the daughter who never existed. The crowd went dead silent. Not a sound. Not a breath. But guess what? I continued. I'm done pretending. I'm done applauding while everyone else gets the standing ovation. I'm done being the afterthought in a family that only knows how to celebrate one child. My hands stopped shaking. My voice? Unbreakable. I turned to the guests. And for everyone here, smiling, pretending you didn't notice? You did. You all did. Every reunion, every birthday, every holiday. You saw it. You saw the way they treated me. And you all stayed silent. Heads dropped. Some people even teared up. My mom whispered, "Stop. Please." Barely holding back tears. But I didn't. I couldn't. Because once the truth starts pouring out, it doesn't stop. "No, Mom," I snapped. "I've spent my whole life stopping. Stopping my voice, stopping my feelings, stopping myself. For you. But not anymore." And then my sister laughed. Yep. Laughed. "God, you're so dramatic," she sneered. "You've always wanted to be the victim. Poor little you. Boo-hoo." She rolled her eyes, turned to the guests, and said, "Don't mind her. She loves the attention." And right there, the fire inside me exploded. "Oh, you think this is about attention?" I said, stepping closer to her. My voice was calm. Too calm. The kind of calm that comes right before a storm. "No, sweetie. This is about truth. Something you clearly wouldn't recognize, even if it was gift-wrapped like your shiny little car." The guests shifted uncomfortably. Some stared at me with wide eyes. Others stared at her, waiting to see if her perfect little mask would finally shatter. And, oh, it was cracking. Her smirk wobbled. Her arms crossed tighter. Her jaw clenched. She wasn't as confident anymore. "Let's talk about attention," I continued, turning to the crowd. "Do you all remember 5 years ago? When Dad lost his job? When they almost lost the house?" Whispers. Nods. "Yeah. Funny how no one remembers who worked double shifts to save this family. It wasn't her." I turned my gaze back to my sister. "While you were out partying, I was breaking my back keeping the lights on. While you posted selfies, I was skipping meals to pay the bills. But sure, I'm the one seeking attention, right?" My voice was shaking, but not from weakness, from rage. My dad stepped forward, desperate. "Enough! Stop embarrassing us," he snapped. But it was too late. Way too late. This wasn't just a family fight anymore. This was a courtroom. And every person here was the jury. A jury that was starting to realize maybe the golden child wasn't so golden after all. My sister's mouth opened, but no words came out. For once in her life, she had nothing to say. Nothing to hide behind. No fake smile. No clever comeback. Just silence. And it was delicious. Because silence can be louder than any scream. Grandma walked over. Slowly. Firmly. She stood between me and my sister, and placed a hand on my shoulder. "You've carried this family long enough," she said, her voice trembling. "It's time they hear what they've refused to see." Her eyes filled with fire. My dad tried again. "Mother, stay out of this," he hissed. But she turned to him, with a glare that could freeze fire. "No, you stay out of this. You've stayed out of her life long enough. You don't get to silence her now." The weight of her words hit him like bricks. The guests weren't even pretending anymore. Phones were out. Cameras rolling. No one cared about the cake. No one cared about the balloons. This was the show. a real-life drama, and they were front row, watching a family destroy itself in real time. And then, Grandma did something that left the entire room breathless. She pulled something out of her purse. An envelope. Thick. Heavy. Old. She raised it in the air and said, "If we're doing this, then let's do it right. Because there's something none of you know." Every head in the room snapped toward her hand. The envelope. Heavy. Thick. Worn at the edges like it had been hidden for years. My mom gasped. My dad went pale. My sister froze. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. Her eyes locked on that envelope like it was a loaded weapon. "What is that?" My dad stammered, his voice suddenly small, weak, almost afraid. Grandma didn't answer. Not yet. She let the tension grow, let the silence suffocate every person in that room. And it worked. You could feel the air, turning heavier by the second. "I've held this for 20 years, she finally said, her voice cold as steel, and I told myself I'd never reveal it, unless I had no choice. She glanced at me, squeezed my hand. Well, today, I have no choice. My stomach twisted. I had no idea what was inside. My mom stumbled forward. "No, don't. Please. Not here. Not now." Her voice cracked. Desperation. Fear. Regret. A mixture I'd never heard from her before. But Grandma ignored her completely. She looked straight at me. Then, straight at my sister. "This changes everything," Grandma said, holding the envelope higher. "Everything you thought you knew about this family, about who you are, about who she is," she pointed at me. "It's all about to change, and none of you are ready for it." My sister stepped back. "Stop. Stop it. You're ruining everything." Her voice wasn't sweet anymore. It wasn't charming. It was raw, ugly, desperate. For the first time, everyone saw her mask fall. And behind it wasn't the golden girl. It was something darker. Grandma opened the envelope, slowly, deliberately. The tension? Unbearable. People held their breath. Some grabbed their partner's hands. Others whispered, "Oh my God, what is happening?" This wasn't just a family fight anymore. This was a bomb, seconds from exploding. She pulled out a stack of papers, faded, yellowed, legal documents, birth certificates, letters. And then she held one up. "This," she said, her voice trembling, "this is the truth you've all hidden, or pretended not to see. But it ends now." My dad lunged forward. "Give me that!" But Grandma stepped back. "Touch me, and I swear, you'll regret it for the rest of your life." Her voice? A blade, sharp enough to cut through steel. He stopped, hands shaking, breathing heavy. Everyone stared. And then she turned to the crowd. "Would you all like to know?" She paused, staring straight at my sister. "Why this family has always treated one daughter like a queen and the other like a ghost?" No one moved. No one blinked. Everyone was frozen. Grandma held up the paper. Her hands didn't shake. Her voice didn't crack. "Because," she paused, letting the tension choke the air. "The truth is, she's not your biological daughter." She pointed straight at my sister. Gasps, screams. A glass shattered somewhere in the back. My sister's face drained of color. Her lips trembled. What?" she stammered, backing away. That's not true. You're lying." Her voice cracked. Her body shook. But the paper didn't lie. It was real. And now, everyone knew. My dad's hands flew to his head. "Mother, stop! Stop!" His face was purple, veins bulging. "This is not the place for this." But it didn't matter. The dam was broken. The secret was out, and there was no way to shove it back in. Grandma stepped forward, unfolding another document. "Adopted. When she was just a baby. You hid it from her. You hid it from everyone. But somehow, you made her the favorite, and left your real daughter," she pointed at me, "to rot in the shadows." The crowd erupted. Gasps, murmurs. A neighbor whispered, "No way. Oh my God." Another pulled out their phone, recording every second. This wasn't just drama anymore. This was generational betrayal unfolding in real time. And I just stood there, frozen, numb, shocked. My sister stumbled back. Her hands flailed as if trying to grab something invisible. Anything to stop the free fall. No, this isn't real. This can't be real." Her voice cracked. Her eyes darted around, looking for someone, anyone, to deny it, to save her. But no one moved. My mom burst into tears. Ugly, uncontrollable sobs. She covered her face, shaking her head violently. We didn't mean. We didn't want it to be like this." Her words tumbled out. Broken. Useless. Meaningless. Because the truth was already screaming louder than anything she could say. Grandma threw another paper on the table. "Her real mother," she said, glaring at my parents, "was a distant cousin. Died young. You promised to raise her, to love her like your own. And instead, you turned her into the princess by crushing the one child that was actually yours." The guests were speechless. One woman literally whispered, "This is insane." Another guy muttered, "I feel like I'm watching a movie." Phones were recording, cameras flashing. No one cared about being polite anymore. This wasn't a birthday party. This was a public execution of a family's dirty secrets. My sister collapsed onto her knees, hands on her head, screaming, "No, no, no," over and over. Like if she said it enough, it would make the truth disappear. But it wouldn't. It was too late. The truth wasn't just out. It was burned into the walls, into the memories of every single person watching. I stood there, frozen. I always imagined this moment, the day the truth would finally come out. But not like this. Not with her on her knees, screaming. Not with my mother sobbing uncontrollably. Not with my father pacing, gripping his head like the walls were closing in on him. My sister looked up at me. Her face was blotchy, red, wet with tears. "You knew?" she whispered. Did you know all along?" Her voice was small, broken. And for the first time, it wasn't arrogant. It wasn't cruel. It was scared, fragile. "No," I said, shaking my head. "I didn't. I swear. I didn't know. But maybe," I paused, "maybe, deep down, I always felt it. Like something never fit. Like there was a missing puzzle piece that no one ever wanted me to find." My dad slammed his hand against the wall. "This wasn't supposed to happen like this," he roared. We were protecting you." His voice cracked on the last word. But everyone could hear the lie dripping from it. Protecting? No, this wasn't protection. This was manipulation, disguise, betrayal. Grandma nodded slowly. "No, you weren't protecting anyone. You were protecting yourselves, protecting your image, your lie. And in the process, you destroyed both of them." She glanced between me and my sister. Her face wasn't angry anymore. It was devastated, heartbroken. The guests didn't even pretend to hide their shock anymore. Some stood with hands over their mouths. Others whispered things like, "I can't believe this," or "This is the craziest thing I've ever seen." But no one left. No one moved, because no one could look away. My mom finally found her voice, barely. We didn't mean for it to be like this. She was so easy to love. Her voice cracked, her eyes filled with regret. But the words only made the dagger sink deeper. Easy to love. Meaning, I wasn't. I felt the words hit my chest like bricks. So, I was hard to love? I asked, my voice trembling. That's what this was? You gave her everything? Because I was difficult? The lump in my throat was suffocating. My hands clenched. My heart broke all over again. No, honey. That's not what I meant, my mom stammered, stepping forward. But the damage was done, and everyone saw it. The guests, the neighbors, the family friends who always smiled and nodded, were now looking at her with disgust. And then, my sister stood up, slowly, wiping her tears, her breathing heavy, her face red, and what she said next was the last thing anyone expected. Even me. She looked at me, dead in the eye, and whispered, I didn't ask to be the favorite. But now, I wish I never was. Her words hung in the air, heavy, broken, real. For the first time, it wasn't fake, it wasn't performance, it wasn't arrogance. It was raw, painful, honest. I wish I never was, she repeated, her voice shaking, eyes glassy, staring at nothing. The guests were stunned. No one dared move. No one dared breathe. Some were wiping their own tears. Others stood frozen, like statues. Because now, it wasn't just about betrayal. It wasn't just about secrets. It was about two sisters, raised inside the same lie, and destroyed by it. I stepped closer to her. You didn't ask for this, I whispered. Neither did I. My voice cracked. My hands trembled. But we both lived it. We both paid the price for decisions that were never ours to begin with. My throat tightened. My vision blurred. She nodded. Slowly. Weakly. I thought being the favorite meant being loved. But now I see it wasn't love. It was control, expectations, pressure. I was the doll, the decoration. And you were the shadow, the one they didn't want people to notice. Tears spilled down her face. I thought I had it all, but I never had anything real. Nothing real at all. Her legs gave out. She collapsed onto the floor again. But this time, she wasn't screaming. She wasn't angry. She was empty, hollow, just like me, just like I'd always been. My mom covered her face, her body shaking. What have we done? She muttered over and over, like a broken record. Her voice was so small, so defeated. But it was too late. Way too late. The damage wasn't just emotional. It was generational. It was irreversible. My dad sat down, hard, like someone had knocked the air out of him. His hands were shaking, his eyes empty, like he'd finally realized that the perfect family image he spent his life building was built on sand, on lies, on pain. Grandma folded the papers, slowly, carefully. This ends today, she said, standing tall. No more secrets, no more favorites, no more pretending. You broke these girls, both of them. And if you ever want to fix it, you start by telling the truth. To them, to yourselves. The crowd stood in stunned silence. Some were crying. Others just stared. No one dared clap. No one dared speak. Because sometimes the truth doesn't come with applause. Sometimes it comes with silence, with shattered illusions, with the weight of everything you pretended not to see. I knelt beside my sister. For the first time in our entire lives, there was no jealousy between us. No competition. No bitterness. Just pain. Shared. Equal. A bond. Born not from love, but from the same wound, bleeding from opposite sides. We sat there, on the floor, side by side. Two strangers. Two sisters. Two victims of the same lie. For the first time, no words were needed. Just breathing. Just sitting. Just existing in the wreckage of everything we thought was true. My sister wiped her face. "I spent my whole life thinking you were the problem," she whispered. Every eye roll, every fight, every cold shoulder, I thought it was because you were bitter, jealous. But now I see you were just surviving. I nodded. My throat burned. My chest felt heavy. And I spent my whole life thinking I wasn't good enough, that no matter what I did, it would never be enough. Because it never was. Not to them. My hands trembled. But my voice didn't. Grandma stepped closer, her voice softer now. "It's not your fault. Either of you. They made choices. Choices that broke both of you. Choices that poisoned this family. But now, you have a choice too. You can either let it define you, or let it free you." My sister and I exchanged a glance. Something shifted. A silent agreement. Maybe we weren't enemies after all. Maybe the real enemy was the lie, the system, the years of manipulation that pitted us against each other, while convincing us it was love. The guests started to quietly leave. Some out of awkwardness, others out of shame. A few hugged Grandma before slipping out. No one touched my parents. No one looked them in the eye. They sat, hollow, destroyed, like statues made of glass, after the hammer fell. Grandma walked over to them, slowly, coldly. "You both should be ashamed," she said, her voice sharp as a knife. "You raised 2 daughters, and you managed to break both of them. Congratulations." She shook her head. "You lied, and the lie became your legacy." My mom tried to speak, but no sound came. My dad buried his face in his hands. For the first time, there were no excuses, no fake smiles, no justifications. Just silence, heavy, suffocating, deserved. I stood up, slowly, helped my sister to her feet. For the first time, we looked at each other not as rivals, but as survivors. 2 people who deserved better. 2 women who, despite everything, were still standing. "We don't have to be what they made us," I said quietly. "We can walk away. Start over. Rewrite the story." My sister nodded, tears still running down her face. Yeah, we can." And for the first time, it actually felt possible. I turned one last time, looking at my parents, the people who were supposed to protect me, love me, raise me, and yet, somehow, managed to destroy me, destroy us. But in that moment, I realized something powerful. Their story ends here. But ours is just beginning. My sister wiped her face. Her hands were shaking, but her voice wasn't. "I don't know who I am anymore," she whispered. "I don't even know where to start, without them, without this lie." Her lips trembled. But maybe that's a good thing. Grandma stepped closer, placed a hand on both our shoulders. "You start by walking away," she said softly. "You start by choosing yourselves, for the first time, ever." Her eyes were wet, but steady. "They may have broken you, but they don't get to keep you broken." My sister grabbed my hand. For the first time in our entire lives, not out of obligation, not out of guilt, but out of something real, something honest. A bond, not built by blood or lies, but by survival, by truth, by choice. And together, we turned, walked out of that house, out of that nightmare, out of that history. No longer the forgotten daughter, no longer the golden child, just two women, free, finally free. And as the door closed behind us, for the first time ever, we smiled.